It's not possible. I didn't say it would be easy, Neo.
Good morning. Today, the Louisiana Committee on Parole is called to order. We're paneled here in Baton Rouge at headquarters. My name is Jerry Ledoux. I'm going to serve as chairman today. On the panel today in Baton Rouge, to my left is Carolyn Stapleton. To my right, Pete Freeman. One of the staff here in Baton Rouge, introduce yourself.
Warden Juge at West Baton Rouge Detention Center.
Great, thank you so much. So we are at West Baton Rouge Detention Center, and we are here for a revocation hearing for under Justin Boisson. Am I saying your name?
Wazan, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just stick with Justin. Sir, today we're going to review some revocation violations, and I'm going to have you plead guilty or not guilty with statements, and then we're going to ask you some questions. But before we do that, I want to assure that we're going through this properly. Do you have in front of you a parole revocation questionnaire that has your signature on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that questionnaire shows us that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. Do you have retained counsel?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to read some parole violations, and you're going to plead guilty, not guilty, and you can have a statement with each of those. But the statement, if you want to have a statement, you'll need to do that while we're questioning you. So at this time, I will read out. You've been charged with violating parole condition number 2, which states that you failed to report to the Probation and Parole Office on January 5th, 2024 as ordered to do so. How do you plead?
Guilty. I didn't show up. That's correct.
Okay. Number 4, on or about 12/31/2023, you threatened bodily harm against Christian Adik, according to offense report prepared by the Iberville Parish Sheriff on 12/31. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty. She's actually supposed to be on here.
Okay.
Not guilty. I'm sorry.
Not guilty. Thank you. Okay. Number 7, you lied about not being home on 1/5/2024 as the reason for failing to report to the office that day, but your father advised that you left the residence upon being told that you needed to report. How do you plead?
Guilty with the statement.
Okay. And number 10, you failed to make any payments, and you were $189 in arrears.
Guilty.
Okay. So, Mr. Poisson, I'm going to be taking lead on the questioning. You said you had a statement for number 7. Why don't you go ahead? Number 7 was that you failed to report and lied about it.
I was already gone when my dad got the call. My dad did call me, but I mean I was too far away to go. He's trying to say that my father told him that wasn't the case, which I don't. But regardless of the fact, I failed to show up. So I mean, I'm guilty of that. I failed to report that Friday. But I asked Mr. BZ in my hearing, it's like, when have I not showed up? Every time you ask me to come in, he's like, I've never not showed up, you know. But I mean, yes, I did not report that Friday. I called him and left him a voicemail. He didn't call me back. He called my father back that Tuesday for me to report that Wednesday. I reported that Wednesday. He gave me a drug test. He wanted to look through my phone. I gave him, well, he went out and told my dad that he wanted my phone, that I wanted my phone. So my dad went and got my phone. We looked through it. He wanted to look through it. I allowed him to look through it. He kept asking me who these certain people were. And I was like, he's looking for Kristen Adair. I was like, she's on the ass munch. So he's like, okay, stand up. He put me in another room. He went to the back with my phone and his computer, and he come back 5 to 7 minutes later and said, unlock your phone. And I said, no, sir, if I can't look at what you're doing with my phone, I'm not unlocking it again. He had then told me to stand up and put my hands behind my back. I'm being non-compliant.
So, you are on parole, and, you are to submit to warrantless searches during that time.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm asking you to look at your phone and you saying no.
No, I allowed him to look through it, as long as, I mean, I didn't know, of course, ignorance is not an excuse. I didn't know that he could look through it without me around, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that. I allowed him to look through it, but when he unplugged the computer and went to the back of my phone and came back and asked me to unlock it again, I told him, no, sir,
Let me read. I agree to visit at my residence, place of employment by my parole officer at any time. I also agree to searches of my person, property, residence, vehicle, when reasonable suspicion exists that I have engaged in criminal activity, and you signed that.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay, so you have to submit.
Yes.
He put that as a violation, but okay. So that's enough of that. How about if we go to number 4, where you pled not guilty to, I don't know how to use this, terrorizing Christian Adair, harassing, whatever you.
She's actually waiting on, so I couldn't give her a time to log. She's actually trying to log in. I don't know what time. They didn't give me a time, but she's willing to log in and said I did not threaten her. She doesn't feel threatened. None of that. That the restraining order is not in effect. She did file one, but it got thrown out. We never went to court on it. It's like, and he's trying to say that I'm involved in criminal activity like that, and that's. I mean, it's not the case.
Well, she's changing her story according to all of the information that we have in this report.
Yes, ma'am.
She's doing a 180-degree turn on saying that wish that she would not breathe and you would not mind going back to prison.
Yes, ma'am. You can call her. You can call her. I mean, she's supposed to log in. I was never given a time for to tell her. I mean, I even wrote the eggs. All my paperwork just says this May 2nd, but it doesn't give a time on it for her to log in. I gave her my ID number and everything. She's supposed to, she just didn't know the time.
Yeah, and we have staff here that are willing to assist in that.
He tried to force it. He tried to entice her to press charges on me 3 different times because he said he was going to obtain a search warrant to get him to my phone, and there was a judge wouldn't uphold it because nothing criminal took place. So the judge was like, I can't issue the warrant.
But we have warrantless searches for anybody who is under supervision. I'm not going to up the law with you. You signed those.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not debating that. I'm not debating that.
Mr. Poisson, for the record, I'd like to note that you are a 4th felony offender, that you were paroled in September, and we have the advantage of having your criminal history. Criminal history can play a part in a revocation hearing because it lends credibility to whether we find you guilty of the charges that were brought against you. Sir, I've reviewed your criminal history in terms of crimes against persons, both felony, misdemeanor, and those, and they're over 14. And so I tend to think that on number 4, that you, based on that preponderance of evidence, that I would see that you would be guilty of that. Can I ask if my colleagues would have some questions, Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Boyzan. How many times you been on supervision?
Parole or probation? I've been on probation twice, and this is my 2nd time being on parole, I think. I have a criminal history that goes back to 1999 when I was 17 when I first got arrested, but I mean.
I'm not getting to that. What I'm asking is, so you know the rules of probation and parole. You've been over them several times.
Yes, sir.
And you did not want him to search the phone. Matter of fact, as he was walking out, I was leaving and he told me, F you and go to hell.
I can't win, but again, I did not let him refuse to search my phone. I allowed him to search my phone. In my,
And
I
you
didn't,
accuse him of using your phone to look at porn?
sir.
Did you accuse Agent Bezet of looking at porn on your phone?
No, sir. No, sir.
You make that comment.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. And
Are you serious?
how many times have you been arrested for domestic violence with this girl?
For domestic violence?
Put anything, disturbing the peace, domestic violence.
Once, maybe twice.
How many times has she recanted her story? Once,
2 or 3
maybe
times.
twice?
2 or 3 times. Yes, sir.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Ms. Stapleton, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. You have an exceptionally long history of domestic abuse, battery with child endangerment that goes back many years. You also have a history of violation of protective orders. For a victim to file a protective order, a lot of times in their life and history, it teaches that victims who file for protective order are try to leave their assailant. At that point, they're in the most danger of being killed. And with your history of domestic abuse battery and the threat that you made to her, that you just see her not breathe, even if you have to go back to jail, and then, like you just admitted, she's recanted 2 other times before.
Because
As far as I'm concerned, you're a threat to all the women that you're with.
So, I'm going to take the lead in voting today. My vote is to,
Make a statement.
you can make a
As far as
statement.
that, and if do you have any witnesses, did she show up?
Did she call in? No.
I mean, she didn't. She was never notified of time. And that the fact that the only reason why she files the restraining orders is to give her temporary full custody of our daughter. Those paperworks are the only ones. We look like idiots when we go to the courthouse to try to get the restraining orders modified or dropped because we couldn't be around each other. The violations of 2021 of violation of restraining order, she called the jail for me to call home to talk to our daughter on September 14th, and I did. We was good for 2 weeks. When she got mad at me again, she called the jail and they arrested me again for violation of protective order. For every time I called home, they charged me with 6 counts of violation of protective order. Judge Ngolio was like, Mr. Vozan, do not let anybody else get you in trouble. I'm the only person that says you can talk to your daughter right now. It's not that I go after her or, threaten her or none of that. It's always been a phone call that she initiates first. The DA told me that she can come to my house and run her head through the wall and I'm in violation. It's like a lose-lose situation. That's what I'm saying. She was willing to give y'all a statement, and I can't help it that she didn't log in, but I've talked to her on the phone. She's not forced to. She's doing this on her own. She knows she messed up. You know what I'm saying? She knows she messed up. She didn't know how serious this was. She even told BZ to give me a drug test. She thought I was on drugs. I passed my drug test. I mean, I wasn't doing anything wrong. We had an agreement. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I was wrong. I told her I prayed, that she would stop breathing. I really did. I didn't say I was going to stop her from breathing, and she knows that. She's willing to say that, I didn't threaten her to stop breathing, that I really, and I'm wrong for asking her, to pray to stop breathing. I really am wrong. That's between me and God. She accepted that. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you for that statement. That really,
I told her I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I mean, it's not that I said I was going to go out and kill her or choke her or none of that, man. It's, my daughter wants me home. She wants me home. And it's just.
I appreciate that statement. Warden, do you have some input?
No, ma'am. I mean, he was put in jail on a parole hold. Got into one fight in the dorm, but that's been the only issue since he's been incarcerated here.
Thank you for that input. So, Justin,
I'm asking y'all, can y'all call her? She's being called a victim, and I'm asking for her to be, you know, for her to speak on my behalf. You know, she's willing to speak, you know, she's willing to say to y'all that she doesn't feel threatened. I'm not a threat, that's not the way it really happened.
I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
Second, third, agree.
Steve Freeman,
Yes.
Tim Pinkerton,
Yeah.
Aaron, yes.
He was trying to coerce her to file charges on me.
We're gonna go into an executive session
Wait a
for
minute.
confidential information.
Okay.
Thank you for being patient, Justin. No one has attempted to contact the Department of Correction. In the bottom of the letter to the offender, it has the information to provide. So we are going to go ahead and proceed with the vote today. You pled guilty to 3, not guilty to 1 violation based on the information we have. My vote today would to find you guilty of that and to revoke your parole. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, due to your past criminal history between you and the subject, my vote is also vote to revoke your parole.
And Ms. Stapleton?
My vote is to revoke your parole based upon your threats to your victim and your violations.
So today, Mr. Wasson, your probation parole has been revoked. Parole's been revoked. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
That's it.
We're going to conclude the hearing there in West Baton Rouge. And the time is now 9:25. Thank you.
They lying.